Hi, Jonathan York from Bay Financial Partners, looking at the investment markets. Still a little bit of a tricky time in the US as the states gradually get back to a sort of reopening. The issue is that you're seeing increased levels of cases now coming through on COVID. That's particularly the case in sort of Arizona, Texas, Florida, California. You're seeing quite a spike in cases really going through, and also in hospitalization as well. Now this presents a bit of a double-edged sword really for the administration because certainly the Trump administration has been trying to push to get the states to reopen, to get the economy moving again, to get that sort of up and running, obviously as we head into the election on November the 3rd. But then some of the governors are pushing back and saying, it's not really safe to sort of reopen on the levels you'd like. And certainly mass gatherings like the Trump rally at the weekend in Tulsa really was, potentially a sort of breeding ground and spreading ground for the virus. Just on that Trump rally, certainly from the president's perspective, it was pretty disappointing. He was sort of bragging really about the demand for tickets. Could have been sort of 100, 150 odd thousand for a 20,000 seater stadium. It turns out there were only around 6,500 there. Obviously, both sides sort of blaming each other, in terms of sort of conspiracy for tickets. There's been a bit of a blame apparently on the sort of social media TikTok side of it. They were trying to sort of claim tickets whenever and have any intention of turning up. But certainly does leave the Trump sort of campaign at the moment in a little bit of crisis, really. It's clearly his best chance of getting back and claiming a second term is obviously on this sort of mass rallies where he is good at sort of hyping up and really getting sort of momentum going. But obviously, if you can't get those meetings sort of taking place in the various states, it does present a little bit of a problem. But certainly at present on the data coming through from the US, retail sales was pretty strong. Unemployment seems to be sort of falling just a little bit. It does appear there is a little bit of momentum in the economy out there. And obviously President Trump is very keen to sort of harness that momentum and sort of, push for that, he is the right person for the second term. But interestingly, in the polls, he is still way behind on most of the polls you look at. There's also fresh pressure out there as well from the latest book coming out by John Bolton, the ex-security advisor. And that is certainly not complimentary to the Trump administration and to President Trump in particular. Now, obviously, as we've discussed here, with the economy sort of gradually opening up and getting back up and running, oil has increased further again and is now just above $40, the first time for quite a while. Seems to be better news on the COVID front in Europe and the UK. Certainly a lot of the European countries are now opening up their borders. Spain are looking to open up their borders almost sort of unanimously now in sort of early July. And that will obviously coincide with the sort of holiday season starting. In the UK as well, it seems to be that they are now sort of on top of the virus. They've had the least number of deaths for since sort of lockdown started, and also the number of infections as well is starting to fall. But certainly for the UK, there's still a long, hard road ahead of them. Here in New Zealand, let's say very frustrating really. I started to see a few increasing cases coming through now after being sort of case-free for just over 3 weeks. Many of these are returning New Zealanders who are coming into quarantine and testing positive. But certainly as well, the government here is facing quite a bit of criticism because of the sort of quarantine areas supposedly haven't been carrying out the tests when they were supposed to. There's been a lot of intermingling between sort of various flights and people in various stages of their quarantine. Now obviously that has a bit of an impact. There was quite a bit of talk about a potential trans-Tasman bubble, also a Pacific Island bubble as well. So it's just going to be very interesting to see how this sort of plays through. First, you've got to contain the quarantine cases and really get on top of that and get some procedures in place. So there is a regimented procedure for going through in your 14 days of quarantine. Because certainly for both economies, if you could get a trans-Tasman bubble open and also a Pacific Island bubble open, it really would be pretty beneficial. Reserve Bank meets this week, no change expected on rates. Still one of the major banks is still talking about a potential negative rates for New Zealand around June of next year. Also, the last week really to get those KiwiSaver balances up to get that maximum tax credit. Now in this low interest rate environment, if you're interested in discussing what options are available, call us on 0800 867 323 or go to the website www.bayfinancialpartners.co.nz for lots of interesting articles, and we look forward to speaking to you soon.